So here's some famous Satanists I've met. I'll start with Anton LaVey. Back in 1995-ish, around there, I was around 18, 19. I had to go to San Francisco on family business. One of the family, like distant uncle type shit, was sick and whatever, and we all went to San Francisco, me and my family. And anyway, I figured while I was in San Francisco, I'm gonna go check out the Black House. So I did, and it's on California Street in the Richmond district, around 27th, 29th Avenue, right around there. And I went there, and lo and behold, there's a Black House, the headquarters of the Church of Satan, Anton LaVey's house. And you know, I kind of expected that I could walk up and ring the doorbell. You know, I had just become a member of the Church of Satan, and I was still a little young and naive, so I thought that I could just, you know, roll in there and shoot the shit with Anton LaVey. Well, I get up to the house, and you know, there's a barbed wire fence, pretty tall too. Not your typical like 5 foot, you know, some shitty barbed wire. It's like a 7 foot barbed wire fence with like you know, spiral barbed wire around it. Anyway, I figured, fuck it, you know what? I'm never gonna be in San Francisco again. I might as well, you know, check it out. You know, I'm gonna go ring that fucking doorbell no matter what. So it was cold. It was in the winter, and I had a leather jacket on. So I threw the leather jacket over the top of the fence, and I climbed up over the fence, you know, via leather jacket. And I was in LaVey's front yard, and I rang the doorbell, and nothing happened. So I rang the doorbell again, and then there's some windows to the left of me, and I could see someone peering through the blinds. I couldn't see who it was, but a voice, it was a woman's voice, and it said, "What do you want? Why are you here?" And I said, "I want to meet Anton LaVey. I need to speak to Anton LaVey." And then she went away. Nothing happened for like a couple minutes. I rang the doorbell again. Nothing happened. I rang it again. Then a voice came behind the door, and it sounded like Anton LaVey. Now, I don't know if it actually was Anton LaVey. I couldn't see him. But the voice said, "What do you want? You're trespassing." I said, "I want to speak to Anton LaVey." And the voice said, "Anton LaVey does not see people without an appointment." And I said, "Well, can I make an appointment?" And the voice said, "Well, you can make an appointment with my 2 Dobermans if you don't get the fuck out of here in 30 minutes, or 30 seconds. So, you know, I was assuming that was Anton LaVey, because it sounded like his voice, and I was assuming that if I didn't get the fuck out of there in 30 seconds, I'd have some Dobermans on my ass. So I fucking briskly walked away and jumped back over the fence, and that was my experience with the Black House. Now again, I don't know who I was talking to. It sounded like Anton LaVey, but I really don't know. I also met Thomas Thorn, the singer of the Electric Hellfire Club, which is kind of a defunct band now. The Electric Hellfire Club is kind of a goth industrial band that came forward in the early 90s. And I talked to Thomas Thorn, the singer. I met him at a concert in 1999 or 2000 in Seattle, when I was living in Seattle. And I talked to him. I shot the shit with him. And I talked to him about his experiences with Anton LaVey. There was a publication by the Church of Satan called The Black Flame. And when Anton LaVey died, the last issue of The Black Flame was kind of a memorial issue dedicated to Anton LaVey, and Thomas Thorn wrote an article in it talking about his experiences with Anton LaVey. Anyway, I talked to Thomas Thorn. He talked about, we talked about his experiences with Anton LaVey and how he got to meet Anton LaVey. Apparently, during one of his concerts in San Francisco, Zena LaVey showed up and asked him, "Hey, do you still want to visit my father? You know, my father admires you, blah, blah, blah." And, but yeah, Thomas Thorn's a cool guy. When I met him, he was fucking really drunk, and he was he got in a fight with security at the show, and he got thrown out, but, you know, that's besides the point. I also had a brief meeting with Marylin Manson. I was working security, and this is back in the early 90s. I was working security, and this is back on his Portrait of American Family tour. He was playing at a small club with White Zombie. He was opening up for White Zombie, and I was working security for the club. I wasn't working for the club. I was a private security company that clubs hired out to work security. And venues. And anyway, yeah, we had to wear raincoats. I was one of the front row security because Marilyn Manson had a reputation for encouraging people to spit on him. And so we had raincoats because people would spit on Marilyn Manson and, you know, get in your face and whatever. But yeah, I met Marilyn Manson. He was walking backstage, you know, and I had smuggled in a copy of the Satanic Rituals, and it was hardback edition. It was a first edition Satanic Rituals. And I was trying to get his attention because I wanted his autograph on it, and I wanted to talk to the dude. You know, this is back in like 92, 93. And, you know, it's about 93, 94. Anyway, I handed him a copy of the Satanic Rituals. And I asked him for his autograph. I wanted him to sign it and give it back. He got a hold of the book, he looked at it, he looked at the cover, looked at the title, and he kind of gave me a nod and gave me one of the, you know, sign of the horns, and said thank you, and he kept walking. So Marilyn Manson stole my fucking first edition Satanic Rituals. But yeah, that's about the famous satanic celebrities that I've met. I've also met like Ed Roland, the singer of Collective Soul, who, you know, isn't an overt satanic musician, but in my opinion he's a Satanist. And you know, I had an interesting conversation with him about that, you know, he probably doesn't want me to divulge, so I won't. But yeah, that's my meetings with a few Satanists.